Welcome to the Apartment Guys, where we dive deep into all things multifamily investing. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower real estate investors to reach their highest potential. Each week, host Tate Seymour interviews high-level guests from all over the industry who are sure to bring valuable, actionable ideas that will propel your career to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, you are in the right place. And now your host, the Apartment Guy, Tate Seymour.
Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Apartment Guys. And we have, this is the Apartment Guys on steroids today. We are the Apartment Guys times 6. There's 6 guys in the room, and we are going to have a Apartment Guys session. Actually, let's let Jeff in, and then there'll be 7 of us total. So Jeff's joining us, and which is great. Glad to have him on board as well. We've got the Rize Multifamily team here with us today, and we're happy to have. I'm sorry, Rize Equity Group, rather, not Rize Multifamily. Rize Equity Group, and that's RIZE for those of you that are listening on the podcast. Rize Equity Group is a multifamily investment group owned by Sean Cullen, Garret McIntyre, Brent Bardales, Jeff Guo, and Larry Pendleton, founded to purchase and own income-producing commercial real estate in the southeastern United States. Specifically, Rize specializes in Class B and C multifamily properties in cities where unemployment is low, rents are consistently increasing, and property values are rising. Rize offers its investment partners the opportunity to leverage shares of commercial rental properties into passive monthly income without the associated day-to-day management. Rize experienced investment team thoroughly evaluates properties to find assets that have vast potential but are currently devalued due to disengaged management and other distress. Once identified, the company aggressively acts on acquiring and improving the asset with a proven property enhancement and management plan. Rize believes that the key to commercial real estate is to be committed to adding value to the properties, investors, and the communities they serve. Check this out. I love this. The owners of Rize are professionals that have proven track records of success in real estate, accounting, business, finance, executive management, and the NFL. And by NFL, I mean National Football League, just what you thought I said. We're going to get into that here in a minute. Pretty cool stuff. Combined, the owners of Rize own and operate commercial real estate throughout the U.S., including 1,500 multifamily units, 130,000 square foot of self-storage ground-up development, 2 Hilton-branded hotels, and invested interests over $40 million in commercial retail. Additionally, the team at Rize has experience identifying and implanting value-add strategies to opportunities within various industries such as healthcare, digital marketing, financing, and e-commerce. They also bring over 20 years of executive management experience in leading diverse teams, building collaborative partnerships, and raising the level of play in any setting. Together, these dedicated professionals make up the winning team at Rize. And we've got all of them here in one place, which is amazing. So with that, guys, that's quite an introduction. You got a lot to live up to now. You sound like a whole bunch of experts to me that really know what they're doing. So I'm looking forward to learning from you today. If you would just take maybe a minute or two each, maybe starting with you, Garret, Mr. McIntyre, and just tell us a little bit about you and maybe a bit about your background and your role within Rize Equity.
Sure. Thanks, Tate. And that was a big intro. So we got a lot to live up to. So my name is Garret. I am the Director of Acquisitions for Rize Equity. My role in the company is basically, talking to brokers, building relationships, helping on the acquisition side to get deals under contract. The name of this game is finding deals, and that's the hardest part of this game, is finding good quality deals. So that's my main role in the company. I help Jeff with some of the underwriting. I understand the number side of things. And then the big thing is like almost team building, relationship building, not just with brokers, owners, that sort of thing, other joint venture partners as well. You know, we're big in partnering and spreading the wealth. Obviously, you can tell by the size of our team, it's not just like a 1 or 2 man show. We are all team players, and we believe in the power of the team. Prior to Rize, I guess I'm the NFL guy with that intro. So I played football for my entire life. I played professionally after college. I played college at Fresno State, and then 7 years after college, finished my NFL career with the New York Jets. I did 3 seasons with them, ending in 2014. And then I found real estate. I wish I would have found real estate while I was playing ball, because I'd probably be in a different place right now. But I found real estate probably 2 years after I retired from the NFL. And I got the bug and I fell in love with it, and I've been attacking it ever since.
Are you familiar with or a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk at all?
Yeah.
You know him, the entrepreneurial speaker that wants to buy the New York Jets.
And he should, because they need help.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's his big why in the world is, and he's not kidding. Like, he's out to make it happen. No, that's fantastic. I can't wait to get back to you and ask you about some of the principles and lessons that you brought along from your playing days and into the multifamily space.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Let's see. Sean, would you like to go next, sir?
Yeah, Tate, I really appreciate it. My name is Sean Cullen. I'm the Director of Operations at Rize Equity Group. I oversee the operations of both the business, kind of as like the managing partner, but also founded, the company with Garret about 1.5 years ago, and where it was advised by, another one of our partners, Garrison Gilbert, who's also with us today. I have got 17.5 years in the military, in the Air Force as an officer. So you could say, my superpower, what I think I bring to this team is being able to bring groups of people together successfully to achieve goals, whatever that is. I also put together that very lengthy bio. So apparently I'm very wordy as well.
All right. But, it worked great.
I appreciate it. About 3 years ago, I figured out that, most military members are accidental landlords, i.e. we move to a place, and every couple of years, we move around. So we'll buy a house, we'll move, buy another house, and move and rent them out. And, a couple of years ago, I got real intentional with my investing. And about 1.5 years ago, decided that I needed to scale, right? In order to do so, I needed to do things a little bit differently. And so I joined a mastermind, met with Garret. We both had, values that align, our vision align, our dreams align. And we got a little crazy and decided to start Rize and do something cool.
Awesome. And so when we'll jump back into this in a bit, but when you say you joined a mastermind, and you met Garret in the mastermind?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
there's
great.
A couple of us that were in the same mastermind group, and we all kind of met through there.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that really advised us, Garrison, is kind of the connector, if you will, and put all the puzzle pieces together. So Garret and myself built a foundation, and Garrison, saw that foundation and said, "Hey, you guys are missing X, Y, and Z pieces. Let me introduce you to some folks," and kind of put us together. And that really is really the key to our success as a group.
We talk about the power of masterminds all the time. I've been in a couple. I'm in one now that I just am incredibly excited about. So yeah, can't wait to circle back around on that one as well. So let's see, Garrison, how about segue into you, sir?
Garrison Gilbert, Baltimore, Maryland is home right now. 21 years experience, full-time real estate. It's the only thing I've done since college. Luckily, my first deal was a win-win way back in 2001, and I just caught that bug. Long story short, 15 years later, I started focusing on multifamily real estate, and my intention ever since has just been to grow the world's largest multifamily network. You are the power of your network.
Yeah.
You just talked about it, masterminds. I'm into a couple masterminds. I run a couple masterminds. I'm actually getting ready to take 40 to 45 people to Costa Rica here in about 3 weeks to do some really badass things. And the average person owns about 1,000 apartments.
That's
who
awesome.
you hang out with. And I hang out with some really badass people. And the gentleman right here in front of you, Garrett and Sean, absolutely crushed it by putting Rize together. They had a couple pieces of the puzzle that were missing. And I just kind of picked and chose some of my good friends. And you see these good friends in front of us, and everybody adds a little bit something different to the ingredients to make that awesome pie that you get out of the oven when everything's all said and done. And I couldn't be more proud of these guys.
That's awesome. Wow. What an intro. That's killer. Thanks, Garrison. So let's see. Jeff, would you like to share a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.
So my name is Jeff Tate, and nice talking to you again.
Yes, sir.
Enjoying our conversation from a few weeks ago. So my name is Jeff Guo. I'm the director of valuation of group, and I work with Garrett pretty closely on the acquisition side, and just to make sure that every single deal that passes on our desk will meet our deal criteria. And as you know, Tate, most of the deals come across nowadays, I'll say 99.9% plus would not make any sense.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And what we're looking for really is those 0.1% deal that does make sense. So quickly about my background, I'm born and raised in Shanghai. I came to this country when I was 18 years old. When all the kids in my high school are studying, math and English, all that, I brought this purple book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And our kids, I just love that so much. Other people are taking classes. I'm like just underlining all the sentences from that. That's when I caught a real estate book. Got my degree in real estate finance from college, and worked on the equity side. Worked for a REIT, does asset management and help out with the acquisition of a portfolio of roughly $350 million. So kind of see like on an institutional level, portfolio is about 95% occupied, and then worked on the debt side, commercial mortgage-backed security. Asset managed portfolio, the occupancy is anywhere between 0% to, 30, 40%. But for me, that's a lot more fun than working on a stabilized asset. So kind of see the good side and also the bad side. So just hoping to bring that experience into the group, and not only to create wealth, but also to do our best to mitigate our risks, because, we're heading to something that's might be pretty interesting. So how to protect our downside, how to play our defense while playing the offense are both just as important. So that's what I'm here for, and happy to be here.
Fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Pendleton, Mr. Larry Pendleton.
Hey, Tate, appreciate you being up here. Larry Pendleton. I've been investing in real estate myself for over 5 years now. I'm also the director of finance for Rize. So I oversee the books and also help with tax strategy with my background in with CPA and helping primarily investors and other professionals in real estate as well. So other than overseeing the books, tax strategy, then I kind of play as a junior underwriting if to get past Jeff and Garrett, and like I said, if I can help out there, I will as well.
Awesome. Great. And I don't want to butcher your name. Is it Bardales? Probably not.
You're one of the very few people to get that right. That's exactly right. Brent Bardales.
Yes.
Thanks,
Wow.
Tate. You're on a roll today.
I don't know. I got lucky.
You definitely did.
People butcher my name every day, so I know what it's like. Yeah, unfortunately. But thanks for joining us, Brent.
Sure. Thanks for having us, Tate. So Brent Bardales, I'm the director of marketing for Rize. And basically my role is to make sure that we could keep the deal flow coming in. That is, as Garrett said, a large part of the multifamily process. And so the more deals that we're able to pass along to Jeff to review, the better. So my role is to bring in those deals, the deal flow, as well as making sure we stay in touch with our investors, brokers, establishing those relationships so that Garrett could take the lead from there. So a little bit about my background.
I guess I'm what you call an entrepreneur. I'm involved in everywhere from medical to finance, digital marketing. And really what kind of made me catch the bug in the multifamily world was I purchased a distressed medical company back in 2016. And I figured, okay, let's add some value to this thing. Let's make it profitable, get rid of all the debt, and turn that thing around, and sold it 3 years later in 2019. And I said, wow, how could I do this again, but make this a little bit easier? And that's where multifamily came up. And ever since then, I've had the bug.
It's a good bug to catch, I think. I think we can all relate, and probably most of the listeners can relate that it's, if you're, I'd say this, if you're in this space and you're listening to this and you don't have like this bug, and that's kind of exactly how it is. Like this industry really does like kind of get into your DNA almost. And I think the ones that are good at it and are doing big things really love this space and love the asset class, love the activity level and the activity sets that we get to do every day. And whether that's the people aspect of things or the marketing aspect of things, the networking, deal flow, underwriting, et cetera, like there's no at least for me, and maybe I'm just a geek, but there's no boring aspect of this business to me. I'll say that.
No, you're not a geek and you're not by yourself. We're all with you.
Appreciate it. So you guys all have it sounds like you all have like a really well-rounded team, and you all have pretty well understood roles, responsibilities. Talk a little bit about maybe Sean, sounds like you and Garrett kind of were the brainchild here, and talk about as you started things up and as things have evolved, kind of what you guys are up to. Like what is it that you're out to do at this point?
Well, we started out actually, pretty much going to be focused just on current and professional athletes as well as military veterans, because that's really what, our two backgrounds are. So we're looked to kind of help them invest in this wealth vehicle, right, that you were just talking about, that we really love. We knew that we were onto something here, like most of the listeners, right? And so we really intended to kind of help those folks enjoy investing in multifamily, and kind of got together. Like I said, our values really align, and we had kind of the same vision, and we had different. I believe we have kind of different strengths, but some of the same as well. And that was kind of the initial intent of the thing. And so I've got a MBA background. I was like, okay, I can utilize some of that and start establishing, some of the things that we need, the foundational aspect of the business, because we knew we wanted to build something long-term. We knew we didn't want to do a one and done. This wasn't going to be kind of a quick deal. We wanted to do this long-term, right? We're pretty serious about it. So we put a lot of time and energy in setting the foundation of kind of what you see. If you go to our website, www.rizeequity.com, you can see a lot of the time, work, and effort we put into that. But one of our other goals too is to educate folks. So not only bring them the opportunity to invest, but educate them on this wealth generating asset. So we have a lot of articles, videos. I mean, we really enjoy helping other people grow. So we enjoy the phone calls that we have with potential investors. We enjoy conversations with other people that we could, potentially a joint venture with as well. Similar type of call that we had with you, before even this podcast, right? Really enjoy leveraging those relationships and having that experience, because that's really what it's about, right? Mm-hmm. It's about two things. It's about relationships and experience. And then if you're successful, you want to bring as many people on that journey as possible. And that's really kind of what it was about when we got together is, hey, we found a way to be successful, and life's about the relationships and experience. Let's make some relationships with folks and have them experience this wealth generating asset with us. Enjoy that journey with us.
That's tremendous. And that level of like service ethic, for lack of a better term, where part of your MO, right? Part of your plan is that you're bringing people along with you for the ride in order to essentially bring blessings to their life in the way of financial independence, security, tax advantages, like, cash flow, et cetera, et cetera. And you guys have the ties to these communities through your backgrounds that gives you access to people in whose lives you can make a lot of difference, it seems to me. And what a great opportunity, number one. And number two, what a great thing to build a vision around and build a business around. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're all of the the growth mindset and abundance mindset as well. Even if folks don't invest with us, we want to help them grow. If they may more resonate with you and your group and what you guys want to invest with, that's fine. We know that you're a good person, and we would gladly give them that recommendation, because again, we're all about growth and the abundance mindset.
Kind of to what Sean just said, I think once in a while, if not more regularly, people reach out to one of us and reach out to me through different channels. Hey, Jeff, I heard that you like numbers, like the underwriting. Can I pick your brain for 30 minutes? And they'll just put something on my calendar, and just having the conversation with people, sometimes for much longer than 30 minutes. And I have like 0% expectation of what's getting back. But that process is a lot of fun, because getting to where we are today, there are numerous people, right, in our life path who has given away their time and effort and love to us without expecting anything in return. So that part is just it's just so much fun, at least for me and also for most of us on the call as well. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, those things always come around. I have zero expectation. They're like, oh, Jeff, look at this deal, look at that deal, this and that. Mm-hmm. So that giving back and also abundance mindset is so important, for us and for the group.
Yeah. And if you're really authentically coming from a place of service and from the bottom of your heart, like it will come back, like you said. And it's kind of an irony almost, because if you're doing it with that in mind and for those motives, then it's not authentic and it's not going to come across that way. But if you're truly serving others and you really do get off on somebody calling you, hey, Jeff, I'm running these rent comps, I'm just not sure, do you mind digging into this with me for a minute? Like, if that's something that really lights you up and makes you happy and like glad to do what you're doing, like, you're going to be successful. And for me personally, like, this podcast is very much that. And I'm humbled and I'm amazed and I feel very blessed every time somebody tells me that they've listened and they've gotten something out of it, or they made a connection with one of the guests, or something amazing has happened as a result of the podcast. Like, it blows me away. And it's something I love to do too. So I think, there's a secret sauce there where it's a combination of, is it authentic? Meaning, is it coming from a place of authentic service and joy? Like, are you happy to share, right? Because abundance mindset's got to be a happy mindset too, I think. And it can't be an expectant mindset. It's got to be like, hey, I'm going to dig in. I'm going to give you everything I got here for the next however many minutes it takes, or whatever, an hour, and I'm going to get you as far down the road as I can get you, and we'll see what happens. Like, you just never know. And in this business, there's almost seems to be like a kind of a magic to some of this stuff that the true servants, I think, are the ones that are ultimately pretty dang successful in this space.
Yeah. Ted, I got to agree with that. and I'll go back to when I actually saw, we're talking about masterminds earlier, right? And when I ended up signing up with this mastermind, it was at Rod Cleef's boot camp in LA. And this was right before, I think it was January of last year, right before COVID hit. And I went there to network with a partner of mine. And it was just, I just wanted to go meet people and talk with people. I'd already read a bunch of Rod's stuff, and the education portion of it wasn't exactly why I was going. It was really just to meet the people. And I spent, 2 days there, and the amount of people that I met that would just basically share everything with me. And when I say everything, you talk about the secret sauce, they'd be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And, on the East Coast, this is what I'm doing in this market. Let me tell you, I've done this, this, and this. It's not like they're trying to hide anything. It's not, I got a secret and I don't want to tell anybody because it's going to keep me from making more money or whatever. Everyone just wants to give everything. And so I saw that, and I was pretty moved at his conference. And then I met Garrison there, and I promise you, when I went there, I had no intention to sign up for the mastermind, because at the time I didn't really believe in it, to be honest with you. And I sat in front of Garrison, and we kind of connected, and he said, listen, I promise you, if you spend this big amount of money, 20 grand, you stroke this check, you will not be disappointed. And I remember sitting there being like, oh God, I can't, how am I going to do this? I don't think I can do this. And so I ended up going with it. I had a couple other people in my ear just saying, hey, just what's it going to do? How's it going to hurt? And luckily I had just closed a deal on a passive investment, like maybe 3 weeks before. So I happened to have a bunch of cash in the bank, and I was like, all right, let's go for it. And absolutely best $20,000 I've ever spent. Number one, I've already made that money back doing a deal. And this was, going into COVID, which most of us that are in this business realize how hard it was to get deals done over the last 8 months, year, right? So going into COVID, stroked that check. I met Sean within 4 weeks. I remember telling my wife, I was like, man, this guy's different and he's special and he's just like me. He's like the military version of me on the other side of the country. I got a partner with him. And so then we started like really getting into it. And that's when, and then COVID hit. But what COVID gave us was that time to build the foundation that Sean was talking about earlier. And it's something that we were both not comfortable with, but we knew in this business, if you want to run it as a business, you have to have the foundation. And we're talking the brand, the background stuff, the CRM, the investor relations, the investor portal, all the things where if you want to raise capital and go buy these deals, you have to have this stuff set up. So although we hadn't got any deals done because of COVID for a long time, except for this last one that we just did, it was a blessing. And that $20,000 is absolutely the best $20,000 I've ever spent. I've already gotten return. I got a return a month into it when I met Sean, and then I had Garrison kind of lead us along, and then we met all these guys, and it was worth every penny. So I can't stress how important that stuff is, investing in yourself.
Yeah, no doubt. So is this Garrison's mastermind that you guys joined? Or is this
it's Rod Cleef's, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, which Garrison is involved in, and he is a coach.
Okay.
So he was kind of one of our mentors. So
Gotcha.
we were lucky enough to be advised, and
very cool.
Yeah. So we're lucky in that sense to have him. And that network that we joined is strong. It is all across the country. There's people everywhere. If you're looking at a deal in a random market, there's pretty much, you can go on to the group and say, hey, is anybody here? What do you know? And then it's like, it's that abundance mindset. Hey, I'd love to help you. Let me tell you about this. No one's hiding anything. There's no secrets. That's what's so cool about this, I guess, multifamily business. I'm sure there's some dark sides too, but I just see all the happy stuff.
Yeah. And I'm, like you said, I'm sure there are people that don't necessarily do this with like the most up and up ethic, so to speak. And we all know that there's slumlords out there that don't treat residents well and don't care about their communities. And quite frankly, those are opportunities for us often. So, we're not glad that slumlords exist, but we're glad for the opportunity to improve those communities. But that said, I can't think of a single high profile, successful investor in the multifamily space. That's, kind of a nationally known, like household name in the industry, that is not a go-giver. That's not like a abundance mindset. Help everyone that they can, at reasonable cost. Like they're all about it. And again, it's kind of a really like delightful space to be in, from that perspective. It's very, very different than single family. I'll say that. I was in single family for a long time, and it's really quite different. And you don't have teams like this, like your team, in the single family space. Maybe you have residential agents or brokers that team up and put that type of team together, but you don't have really high level entrepreneurial focused people come together in a team setting like this and put their resources together and go out and crush it like that. It's pretty unique to this space, to the commercial space, and in particular the commercial multifamily space. That's good stuff, guys.
That's one thing that's fun part about this business, Tay, is that, the market is so big that we're talking about billions and not trillions, right? And there's so much money to be made. Even if a group captures 0.01%, whatever of it, it's still penny compared to what the market is, right? So there's almost no reason try to have a scarcity mindset. Oh my gosh, there's only one apartment building in the entire United States that we can buy. There's just so many opportunities out there. And like you said, right? The more stuff that we give and the more abundance mindset we have, and somehow just always come back so many folds back. Not to say that that's what we're expecting, but it just always worked that way. Mm-hmm. And some of the biggest players in the field that, they're givers. They just give out their trade secrets. And like Garrett said, there's no trade secrets, right? With the off market listing, and everybody does that. And the more information they give out to share, the more it comes back many folds. So it's just super interesting phenomenon to see in this market.
Totally. Yeah. I'll give a shout out to one of my mentors, Corey Peterson. He's a great guy, but more than that, he's like an open book, and is an example to me in that way. Like, not only does he not have anything to hide, but his most valuable secrets are the ones that he constantly is sharing. Like the gems are the ones that he's constantly sharing. So, well, cool. So Garrison, you've kind of had a high level view of seeing all this come together, and this got to be super exciting for you to have a powerhouse like this put together. Can you speak a little bit to that and kind of your role and it sounds like you're kind of director of morale and a few things like that in the group.
Sean is definitely the weekly leader. I'm just kind of the background, kind of do my thing here and there and trying to learn from these fellas a little bit. Okay. But we talked a little bit ago about masterminds, hanging out with good people and surrounding yourself with the right people. And that's really what this group is all about. And yeah, we all met through Rod Cleef's group, and Rod has an awesome mindset. He's a great friend of mine, and I have nothing but awesome things to say about him. And I'm sure you're familiar with him. If you haven't had him on your podcast already, I'm sure you will at some point in time.
Yeah.
But it comes down to under promising and over delivering in every aspect of not only this business or not only real estate, but life in general. Mm-hmm. If you really try to do well by others and look out for others' best interests, we can do a lot more together. And that's been kind of the premonition of everything that I envisioned a year and a half ago, whenever the wheels to this bus kind of got put in motion. I saw what Sean and Garrett were doing, and I was jealous a little bit, for lack of a better word. Pro athlete, awesome military guy. They're going to blow up off of this network that they have amongst them and behind them. But I saw where they were lacking a little bit. And my role is just big vision. I kind of see 3 turns ahead, if we're driving a vehicle and using that analogy. I let these guys take the day-to-day wheel, and then I kind of fill in and bring in my expertise or my 21 years of experience as we need. And I've had conversations with each of these guys individually and together where, I might not be super involved in the day-to-day per se, because I do have a lot of other things going on, such as the Secret X Mastermind, where we're going to Costa Rica. I have a small company called multifamilymasters.com, where I have 80 meetups across the world, from Hong Kong to Asia to Europe to the US. And I'm really trying to grow out that network. And my goal, or my job with this group, is how can we utilize my network? I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it. And you're looking at 6 awesome individuals in front of you that, like I said earlier, I could not be more proud of.
Mm-hmm.
But my role moving forward is, hey, where do we see opportunities? How can we kind of twist it a little bit? And what's our competitive advantage going to be? Now, yes, I want to give as much information out as I can and help as many people as I can. And I coach a lot of people and I mastermind a lot of people in this industry. I've had tons of success. But really, it's all about stepping back and figuring out, what can we do that's a little bit different? How can we twist this game a little bit, twist it in a way that we can take advantage of our individual skill sets? Right now, we're in the midst of adding a lot of technological advances that a lot of other equity groups would not be involved with. I'm not really going to hit on that too much right now. If Garrett or Sean wants to talk about it, awesome. But we're really just trying to find that competitive advantage and what really sets RizeEquity.com above all of our competitors. It's not a competition, but we're trying to get as many deals as we can. And something that's a little bit unique about this group, from what I see from a lot of other groups and a lot of other groups that I coach and I mentor and I'm even involved with, is there are 6 of us. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, our goals are a lot bigger than a lot of other groups. We're not just looking to close 2, 3, 4, 5 apartment deals. We're talking 10, 15 years down the road when we have billions of dollars under asset management. And that's the big picture. Mm-hmm. And then we can give back to our residents. We can give back to our investors. For example, we just raised a small amount of money on an apartment building a couple of weeks ago. We need to raise $1 million in 2-3 weeks. Not a hard thing to raise, not at all. We raised probably twice that within 3 hours. And then we create that fear of missing out. But the most important thing is, we promise our investors this bar, and we're going to give them this bar, because referrals are everything in this industry. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much my vision and my role with Rize Equity Group. And each of these guys have just an absolute phenomenal brain behind them. Just couldn't be happier to be behind such a strong team.
Just a question that it's come up for me a few times in the conversation, so I'm just going to ask it. Have you guys ever thought about or looked at either creating an investor relations position, or is that something that you kind of shoulder amongst you equally or dispersed amongst you? You're all smiling. So what did I say?
And we're all laughing. I think most everybody's on mute, and I guess I'll take a jab. It's funny you mentioned that, because we literally had this discussion the other day. So, part of the challenge of having a group of individuals like this is making sure that we're communicating regularly and openly, right? Especially now that we got, a deal as Rize kind of together under our belt, is figuring out, okay, what is everybody's roles and responsibilities? We got the deal across the finish line, but where are we staying in our lanes? What are we missing? What do we do well? What can we do better? What do we need to keep doing? Right. So a couple of things. I believe feedback is essential in a breed success. So it's almost like doing an after action, right? So you get a deal done, you do an after action, you give that feedback, you do a little bit of reflection, right? And so we did that. And one of the things we said was, hey, our investor relations is more of a pickup game. We need to be very intentional with that. So I actually will be taking on a larger role, because my current job is going to be a little more reduced and open more time. And I really everybody enjoys, and kind of to Jeff's point, talking with potential investors. Even if they don't invest with us, just having that conversation and learning about them and sharing, and kind of that law of reciprocity, right? Like, how can I help you grow is one of the questions I ask at the end, even if it's a fellow investor. Yeah. Hey, brother, how can I help you grow? And it always catches them off guard. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, personally or professionally, how can I help you grow? One of the things that, attracted me to Rod's group is the whole mindset thing. I am all about mindset. I'm about the growth mindset, abundance mindset. I'm about helping, people just grow in general. I instruct in my current job, and I love seeing the light bulb come on. You were talking about, what fills your cup, relationship wise when you're speaking with people. That's one of the things that helps fill my cup is when I'm helping someone learn something and that light bulb comes off. Hey, I can make money investing passively in multifamily, and that frees up time for me to do the things I love. What? Are you serious? This is the best thing. I'm like, oh yeah, we will do the work for you, but we want to build that relationship with you, right? Because all relationships, the foundation is built on trust. So you got to build rapport and trust with them and say, hey, yeah, brother, and I want to take you on this journey. It is not too good to be true. It is factual. Come on, let's take this ride together.
That's awesome. That's good. It's good stuff. So Brent or Larry, one of the two of you, just real quick, just share about the deal that you guys just landed. Just kind of quick thumbnail sketch of that.
You want to go ahead, Brent? You want me to start?
I'll go for it. Sure. Yeah. So we just landed a smaller deal, a 20-unit deal out in Cumming, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, up and coming area, A-class area. Property needed a lot more work than the seller let us on to it needing. We flew out there in December, got on our hands and knees under the property in all the units, and I mean it was a mess. So we were able to. It was not our intention to go back and retrade. We went back and retraded, got some seller credits at closing. Ended up being a smoking deal. Jeff and Garrett really did a great job on the underwriting on that thing, and Sean did an amazing job with his rapport, right? Building trust with the seller. It was an off-market deal. We found that through some pretty crafty marketing. With my digital marketing background, we were able to make that work. And Owners owned it for 39 years. Probably he's 80 years old. He's probably deferred maintenance for the past 30 years. So you could only imagine what that thing looked like. Basically a slumlord, as you alluded to earlier. And so we're coming in and really just we're completely basically a gut job, just coming in and renovating the entire apartment. It's 5 buildings, 4 units each, and we're going building by building and just improving it, going to make life a lot better for the tenants that live there, and we're really excited to be a part of that community.
That's north of Atlanta, Cumming?
Yep.
Yeah, I've actually been there, believe it or not. It's a very nice area, if I remember well.
You remember correctly.
Yeah, nice.
It's a small deal, but I think this deal is a pretty good representation of how we work together, right? So it starts with Brent, because he's genius in digital marketing, that we're able to find the seller, Brent, correct me if I'm wrong, but through email marketing. And then Sean and Garrett is super great at building relationship to form that relationship with a seller to be able to purchase property at what we consider a no-brainer price. And because of the additional, CapEx, deferred maintenance, we're able to get a seller credit at closing, which reduced the amount of capital that need to raise. And in terms of underwriting, I mean, there's only so much Garrett and I can do if the purchase price is not there. But because it's off market, because we get a great price, there's just so much juice on on this deal. Mm-hmm. And then thanks to Garrison and all the network, we're able to raise money, $1.5 million, super quickly. Mm-hmm. And Larry helped us put a finance together. So again, small deal, but it's just a good representation of how we're able to work together. And also part of our philosophy is conservative. In the Cumming market, if you run the median rent, is about $1,500 for 2-bedroom. And our underwriting is $1,050, way below the median rent. The cap rate for the Atlanta market, if you talk to a broker, it's going to be somewhere between low 5s to mid 5s maybe. We say, you know what? Let's do a crazy 6.5% exit cap rate and see if this still does work. And it still does work. And the only reason we do that is because we put deal together as sponsor, but at the same time, all of us have liquidity. We look at other people's deal to invest in. We come across deals where in an okay market, the sponsor put in 5% as a cap rate, which is like There's no way. That's the only reason the IRR can get to 18%. We go the opposite. We say, you know what? Market rent $1,500. Let's go the lowest of the low. Let's do 1050 to see if the deal still works, which it does. Cap rate is 5.5 and a quarter. Let's do 6.5% to see if it still works, which it does, right? So by having that many layers of conservative underwriting and still the deal pencil all day long, that gives us the comfort, which give our investor comfort. And that's a philosophy that I want to use keeping going forward.
Yeah, that's
one thing. Sorry, I was just going to add to that. One of the biggest things that us as a group, Rize, and what we believe in is we believe in quality over quantity. So it took us 9 months of banging our head against the wall to finally get a deal under contract and get a deal closed. But it's a good deal. And so for our investors, we would rather do one coming deal, or one of these, we call it a triple gap. That's the name of the apartment. We'd rather do one triple gap a year because we have the comfort of sleeping at night knowing that there's a pretty good chance we're going to be able to execute our business plan. Where I know because I invest passively in other people's syndications, and I look at some underwriting now that I understand the numbers, and I will stress for maybe some of your new listeners or whoever, you have to know the numbers, whether you're passively investing or you want to do this on the active side and be a principal. If you don't understand cap rates and what they can do to returns and rent growth percentage numbers, I look out at some of these OMs that I see, and I have to scratch my head and go, there's no possible way they're going to be able to hit these numbers. It's just, I mean, I shouldn't say that because this market could go for another 10 years because we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody can figure this thing out anymore. So, but some of the underwriting that we see is just, it's crazy. It would be really hard to hit those numbers. So it's important for both investors and principals to, make good decisions when it comes to those underwriting. And again, it's quality, man. We sleep better at night knowing that we have a lot of downside that we can, I guess, underperform and still get our investors paid. So,
yeah. Yeah, those are pretty stout stress tests that you put your deals through. Go ahead, Brent.
Sure. Yeah, and Garrett mentioned something about knowing the numbers. If you don't quite understand what that means, on our website there's a ton of education. If you go under the resources, you'll see some multifamily 101 investor education. You can learn all about what those numbers mean. There's a passive investing guide to really dig deep. And I think one other thing that made this deal a little bit different, I think Garrett or Jeff could kind of expand on this, is how we structured the returns for the investors. It's very different than most deals. I found it extremely interesting when they came up with this because this is not something that's a strong suit for me. The underwriting and that creative finance is not my thing. So when they came up with this, I was kind of mind blown. So Garrett or Jeff, you mind just really quickly kind of going through that?
Yeah, Jeff, you could take it.
Sure, absolutely.
Great job.
I mean, if other people have done it, it's not us actually. We wish we can take all the credits, but it's through other groups. Hey, you're probably familiar with that, Tim Brads and other people, right? So we buy deals, below a certain percentage all-in cost. What that does is we're able to increase the rent to where it is, and then do cash out refinance and pay back invest all the cash, and still let them keep a portion of the deal in perpetuity.
Right.
And there are a few reasons why I put deals together like that. Number one, instead of the investor have their capital locked up for 5 to 7 years, as they typically do on the deal, now they can look to get their money back in about 3 years, tax-free, so that we won't need to worry about raising capital. Guess what? Guess where they're going to put their money in, right? Hey, guys, Rize, please invest my $50K into the next deal, please. And number two is the money velocity to create that infinite return, because after the investor get their money back, they're still going to get a piece of the equity and also cash flow in perpetuity. Right. And third but not lastly, they're going to get 10% cash flow, preferred cash flow for the first 3 years, which is respectful. So 10% cash flow for the first 2 to 3 years, all their money back tax-free, and also still a portion deal in perpetuity. That's how I put this deal together.
That's tremendous. All of that said, do you mind me asking what a final IRR looks like on a structure like that?
Gosh,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
it is a pretty good looking one, Garrett. It's been, are we talking about the high teens, low 20s, if not higher than that?
Okay. Yeah.
But and also that's assuming, but once their money is back, it's going to be infinite return at that point. So,
Sure.
and also all that number, and we try to taper our investors' expectation by having those super conservative underwriting. In reality, it's higher than that, but still tell them, hey guys, you're looking at a probably high teens and low 20s IR because of that. So,
well, Brent, you've got this is like a double-edged sword for you because you're a deal flow guy, and when you've got when your deals have to pass a 1.5 increase in a cap rate and a 30% decrease in rent income, just so you can say that you're conservative because Jeff wants you to be, that's got to be challenging to find assets that'll hold up.
I would say ask Garrett how his conversations go with brokers. It's a little bit confusing for them to understand sometimes how we kind of break down the numbers. So we have to go through that conversation a few times.
I bet.
We still look at traditional syndication model on deals, especially the bigger stuff, like the 100+ unit stuff that we all love. We still look at traditional syndication models, 70-30 split, kind of similar to your last deal, right?
Right.
Those are, we still have that. It's when you can find deals at such discounts, which is very hard nowadays. That to me, that's the secret sauce. How do you find these deals that are so heavily discounted in the market that you can really put together whatever deal structure you want to? The traditional syndication is fine. Not just your IRR is going to go up, but when you have such a thick spread there, you can get creative with the deal structure. So we still look at deals 70-30 splits. They can be slightly thinner as far as the margin goes. So yeah, we're dynamic. We try to get any way we can make a deal work for our investors. We will. It's easier said than done nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the answers to how do you find deals is you're willing to look at a 20 unit, for instance. Like, you're not going to find a 100 unit that will proportionally support those same numbers. They just, I guess never say never, but like,
it's difficult.
Very, very, very difficult, especially if you want to be in an A+ market outside of Atlanta or, another hot market like that. Yeah, that's a challenge. I
agree.
Challenging for sure. Yeah. Well, so Larry, when it comes to your role in all of this and doing this particular deal, what did it look like from your view?
I kind of jumped in and out in certain situations when Garrett was negotiating, Sean was negotiating with the seller. There was a point where like he would consider seller financing. He was just concerned about the capital gains hit, so we actually went down that yellow brick road a bit, and he decided not to. But the fact that he was actually connected to a team that could basically do that breakdown for him, and explain it to his tax advisor, just kind of helped build that rapport with him. And then as the deal is being put together and we're talking with investors, I kind of pop back in of, okay, we're going to do a cost seg on this property, on the price, and then part of it I can do internally with my team, as well as because of the work that was needed that Brent brought up, it becomes a bit of a kid in the candy store for a tax professional when you're talking about that much work done and how much write-offs we're going to have in year 1, 2, and 3, and not even considering all seg at that point. So, so for me, it was just great to be able to add value to the team, to the seller, and also now to the investors, and tracking all of this stuff all the way through.
Yeah, how cool to have a CPA on your team. That's awesome. I'd love that.
Yeah, in-house cost segs doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. In-house, a lot of things for sure. Well, guys, as I knew it would, this has flown by. There's so much that I really wish we could get into. I want to ask, I guess, Sean or Garrett, either of you could take this one. Things go really well over the next 12 months or so. and I'll ask it maybe from a 3-year perspective as well here in a minute, but let's just take the next 12 months. What's the next deal look like for you guys in terms of scale, and any other qualities? And then, what's a good successful year over the next year look like for you?
Gary, you want me to take it? All right, I got this. So we actually go over our goals every meeting, our annual goals, and we're further refining them. But at the end of this year, what a successful year looks like for us is $20 million in equity creation this year. Not equity under management, but actually creating that equity.
I love that.
Yeah, maybe a little lofty, but you know what? You gotta shoot for the stars. You hit the moon, cool. You know what? You're a lot further than where you were to start off with, right? We want to establish ourselves in more markets. Currently, we're in Atlanta. We're looking a lot in the Southeast, and I mean we're coming through. Our team is coming through hundreds of deals a month, easy. But we also want to bring value or partner with, over 1,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's approximately 3 people a day. But I know that we can do it. I know there's ways to do that. And notice I said bring value to, and not just partner with, not just invest with us. So we want to make sure that we produce value through our educational content, enough so that it can reach close to 100,000 people. So we got to get really intentional. And Brent is knocking this out of the park with our marketing, so that we can get followers who are reading that content. But at the same time, we have a philanthropic aspect to our business. We want to be able to generate enough revenue to give back at least $5,000 to $10,000 this year to those that are less fortunate, to reinvest some of our profits back into the communities we serve. So we're all about serving others. We want to be able to do that. We want others to share in our success, both as investors and as the communities we invest in. So that's what success looks like for us this year. And I believe you asked in 3 to 5 years, what does that look like?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
And I would love it if Rize is created over 100 million in equity, and 10x all those numbers that I told you there, and growing out of the Southeast and investing across the U.S.
Yeah, love it, guys. Good stuff. You got a good thing going. You built a really awesome team and good vehicle, and I can tell you're a powerhouse, and you guys are going to crush it.
Nice, Tate. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you, Garrett, Sean, have you guys ever thought about doing a podcast?
Well, Garrett he's kind of the face, right? So maybe he just needs to do the vlog stuff. I think I'd be better at the podcast, so people have to see my face all the time.
Oh, stop.
Hey man, if I can do it, you can do it for sure. For real.
We thought about it, man. I almost did. I got a microphone and everything. I got the whole setup. I got the light. I got everything in here right now. When it came down to it, I played with a couple things. It wasn't just real estate related. We were going to do some stuff with like athletes and in mindset and all things that we believe in. And as you know, it's part of this business. Mindset is everything, man. Yeah. If you've got a weak mind, get out. Yeah. Don't even try. Don't waste your time, because this business is going to punch you in the mouth over and over and over again. Can you take those punches and start bobbing your head a little bit? Or, I guess I'll use the football reference, doing a new pass rush move and going and getting that sack, right? You got to get creative, because this business is tough, man. And it's becoming, there's so much cash out there. Because of this, the ability to share the message, everybody knows about it. That's how I was in podcast university. I started listening to podcasts, and it was real estate. And that's how I learned a bunch about real estate. So, I don't know. It's a very time intensive, and I think it's a very, I don't want to say it's watered down, because every time I listen to podcasts, even if it's just a random one, I get something from it. So there's so much value in these podcasts. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's something that we're all lacking right now. Well,
yeah, I hear you. And I will say, for me, it felt really daunting, to even consider it. And then I was pushed pretty hard by a couple different mentors. and one of whom is now producing this podcast and marketing this podcast, which takes a lot off of my plate at this point. But it hasn't been that way up until very recently. And I'll just say that I do think you number one, with the right help, you can automate it, a lot of it, and it can really be a positive thing for you. And you guys have great personalities. Sean, you're better looking than you think, man. I think you guys would be just fine. I think you'd have a really unique, a unique spin to share, and it gives you a chance to really highlight, yourselves and what Rize is up to. So I think you guys would be great at it, but for what it's worth. But
maybe we need you to push us, Tate.
Well, happy to do it. So, right. But regardless, I look forward to seeing how Greenlight and Rize can work together here in the future, moving forward. Yep. And look forward to learning a lot more from you guys as we move forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Tate.
Yeah, yep. You bet. Well, guys, appreciate everything, and appreciate all your nuggets of wisdom and just expertise and experience in the space. And I'm really excited for you guys.
Thanks, Tate. We really appreciate you having us on, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. My pleasure. Absolutely. So listeners, thanks for listening to another episode of the Apartment Guys, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Apartment Guys with Tate Seamer. Tate and friends are grateful to have you as a loyal listener. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe, rate, review, and share with friends on your Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. Also, check out Tate's YouTube channel for videos of many of these episodes and more. Until next time, take massive action steps and rock on.